Two more Nintendo patents have surfaced, possibly giving clues about their upcoming plans. The first one features a touchscreen with haptic feedback, which essentially means that it creates the illusion that what you feel on the touchscreen is actually something more traditionally tactile. You're not just touching glass. You'll, for example, touch the screen, and it might give you a little rumble or pushback. It creates the illusion that you're pushing maybe a button, for example. The patent shows an example of a volume slider that clicks more distinctly to the right as the user slides it in that direction. The second one is for a device with linear image sensors, kind of like a bar scanner, on all four edges of a controller, and that can be used for a variety of purposes. They could detect you touching a surface near the device without actually touching it. It could scan other devices like Amiibo, and it can even keep track of your hand positions, check your pulse, and more.
So when it comes to the second one, a lot of people are looking at it and they see it as a handheld device, and so they wonder if this is the handheld version of NX or something along those lines. But I kind of wonder if this could be related to their quality of life plans, especially when it mentions that it can check your pulse and things like that.
That's really interesting.
And, we haven't heard anything about their quality of life plans publicly for a while.
I mean, it certainly sounds like it couldn't possibly be a controller that's intuitively implemented into the NX.
Well, unless it's just one of the many options for connected devices for NX.
Yeah. I could see that.
Especially since...
It's very odd, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen lately that when they talk about their platform, they're really talking about a bunch of different initiatives that are kind of running in parallel. So they even included 3DS and Wii U on their picture of what the future Nintendo platform is going to look like. And those are platforms that certainly aren't designed with the paradigm that they're running with in mind, but they're going to try to integrate them in some way. And that probably would be true for a quality of life device.
Yeah.
I don't know. These patents they're interesting, but in terms of interfaces, what always strikes me about, how Nintendo looks at the future is when their interfaces are successful, it's because the interfaces are being designed to solve specific challenges about things they want to achieve with their games. Here we kind of have these interface ideas, but they're not really attached to any particular game application. So it's hard.
I will say, Nintendo has been repeating time and again that the reason that touchscreen gaming, specifically mobile games, are far inferior to console gaming is that you don't have the tactile response of pushing a button. The idea behind this haptic feedback specifically is that you're making a touchscreen feel more like a traditional button. So some people I've heard think that maybe they're working on their own smartphone. I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, maybe. That would be pretty radical, though.
Well, I certainly think if they're going to continue to use a touchscreen, haptic feedback is a great user experience addition, yes. Regardless of what they're doing with it. But it's hard for me to kind of get excited about what the possibilities might be.
Yeah, of course.
When, for example, Wii was not something you would have been able to easily understand until you saw Wii Sports. Wii almost didn't make sense without Wii Sports.
Yeah.
And that sort of applies to these kinds of concepts, too. Like, until we see what they're making of them, I don't really know if these are just technologies or if these are technologies that are going to make the games better.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.